Hi, it's Sharyn. Thank you so much for coming to have a look at this video. I wanted to make this video because so much has happened. It sort of started when I started to realise that I think I have ADHD. There is a history of ADHD in my family, and ADHD is something that is genetic. I moved from Sydney, which is a very dynamic, very busy, exciting city, to a rural environment because that is something that I'd wanted to do for a very long time. So it sort of was that the change from living in a dynamic environment with a lot of friends who were very dynamic, participating in very dynamic sports like yachting is my big favourite sport. And I've also flown quite a few aeroplanes, only little ones, of course. But moving to a rural environment, I didn't realise that it would be such a massive change. My goodness. The people are different. Living in a rural environment is so different to living in Sydney. So you must be thinking, what has this got to do with me? Or with you, that is. Well, I've always wondered why I could achieve so many things in my businesses. I've built up businesses from scratch to being multi-million dollar businesses, and it really wasn't hard. It was something that just happened. I mean, certainly I worked hard, but it was something that once I got on the first step, I climbed to the second step, the third, the fourth, the fifth, and that was fine. And I've often wondered, well, not everyone does this. And so how did I do it? As you know, my website is Self-Made Success 101 because I've always thought, well, if I could do this, anyone could do it. I mean, I left school at 15. It's no big deal. There's nothing special about me. Well, there was something special. It wasn't special good. it generally is thought in the big wide world as very special bad to have ADHD. Then I started to realise that there were so many entrepreneurs with ADHD, and evidently ADHD is something that's very good to have if you want to be an entrepreneur. I mean, people like Richard Branson, Einstein, would you believe, had ADHD. I don't know how they know that, but anyway. Michael Phelps, the swimmer, ADHD. A lot of sports people have ADHD. So you must be thinking, oh, well, what is she getting at? Well, I'll come to the point. Recently, I came across some very interesting research, and this research just absolutely blew my mind. Now, as you can imagine, in order to be successful at anything you want to do in your life, anything at all, whether it's running a race, whether it's being a sportsman, whether it's starting a business, whether it's doing schoolwork, if you're not engaged in doing all the things that are required to be successful at that particular task, it's very hard for you to be successful at that task. Now, what this research shows us is that ADHD people do not follow the same process of engagement that normal people do, or also known as neurotypical people do. It seems, and I can vouch for this, I know it's the case with me, we have a totally different way of becoming engaged. And I see from that our way is much more suitable for people that want to achieve a certain goal, particularly a goal in starting a business or doing that. I won't go into too much detail now, we'll be here forever, but there are certain successes in life that are more easily reached by going the engagement route of an ADHD person. And that seems to be why we have people in business, people in sport, people in academia being more successful when they're ADHD. Now, I'll just put an aside in there. There are also more ADHD people in jails than neurotypical people. So I'm not suggesting that having ADHD is a good thing. It's neither a good thing nor a bad thing. But there are certain parts of ADHD that I can vouch, because I've used them, I can vouch to you that these make things much easier to achieve certain successes in life. So what have I done about it? Well, I firstly had to see whether my idea works for the normal neurotypical person. I have some wonderful people that I mentor, my clients, and I ask them, would they like to learn about the engagement process for success for me, for an ADHD person? And every one of them said, yes, let's go for it. So that's what we've done. We've been doing this, a few months now, so it's early days, but every single one of them has found their life easier, have found they've been achieving more in a shorter space of time. I've also taught them the power of hyperfocus. Hyperfocus is just the most wonderful thing. I won't bore you with it now, but it's something that evidently, I'm told, ADHD people do sort of semi-automatically, which neurotypical people don't. Now that I found very interesting, because you see, when you're ADHD and it hasn't been diagnosed, what you are, you think everyone else is. So you can imagine how I thought, well, why don't these people do this? You know, it's obviously, I think it's a tremendous advantage. It's been an amazing, amazing period of time. My clients are thrilled. I'm thrilled. I've also been learning a few neurotypical things too with my clients, because they say to me, Sharyn, this is what we do normally. And I say, oh my goodness, I would never have done that. So it's been an absolutely mind-blowing situation. Now, I better let you go, but what I'm going to do over the next few days, you're going to receive some information, some more information from me, some emails, and information generally. And I'd love you to get in touch if you think that it's good or it's bad, or just find it interesting. It'd be lovely to hear from you. So I'll say goodbye for now. It's getting really dark. Oh, I'm just seeing what it's like outside. Oh, we've got some lovely clouds, some pretty clouds out there. So thank you very much. It's great that you're here. And again, I thank you for your time. Bye now.